All right, this is Ranking of Cage, episode 12, Wild at Heart. So, Wild at Heart, released in 1990. Your two main stars in this movie are Sailor, played by Nicolas Cage, and Lula, played by Laura Dern. Um, it's a weird movie. It kind of opens up and you don't really know what's going on, but a, a random guy is like accusing Sailor of trying to have sex with Lula's mother and then pulls a knife, and then metal music plays and Sailor violently kills him and then smokes a cigarette. Um, and the movie doesn't really get any less weird from there. Um, I mean, the biggest thing with this movie is I didn't know what the hell was going on, and like it's kind of hard to follow like all the characters and the assassins. I mean, the general gist of the movie is Lula's mother doesn't like Sailor, and it's like you can't date Lula, and Sailor doesn't listen to that because Sailor doesn't care about that. And Lula wants to be with Sailor, and they go on to have weird, like, music backed sex scenes. And they have weird things at a club where Sailor, like, breaks out in, like, an Elvis song after a metal band plays. And then there's, like, these assassins that are trying to hunt down assassins hired by Lula's mother, she has some kind of weird sexual tension with some of the assassins. And it wasn't completely clear to me. I was trying to figure it out, but it's not completely clear to me what's going on there. And then you have Lula and Sailor who are driving to California, and they end up in this town where they come across a bunch of other weird people. And there's like and then
Wait.
You go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, just to kind of build up the reason for the conflict between Sailor and Lula's mom is,
right,
apparently Sailor had worked for someone that had also worked with Lula's dad,
mm-hmm.
who had killed his dad. So he was working for Lula's dad's murderer, which is like kind of like flashbacks.
Yeah, it's like slowly revealed. There's like a fire, and
yeah. So one of the assassins essentially killed Lula's dad. Like poured gasoline on him while he was knocked out and killed him, lit him on fire, and Sailor saw the whole thing. So it kind of makes it seem like they're trying to kill Sailor because he saw something. I forget what his name is. Whoever
the father, what was
not the father, the guy who he drove for. I'm blanking on his name.
Oh yeah,
Santos,
right?
Santos, the Santos guy, this mysterious. I don't know. I guess he's like a businessman, or I don't know. But yeah, it's just very confusing. They throw all these characters at you that some of them are or hired hitmen.
Yeah,
some of them are good, but some of them are bad.
That was
Lula's mom is unsure of who's good and who's bad. It seems like
that was I think the most confusing part to me was the assassins and their allegiances. I tried really hard to like suss out what was going on with those, but I don't think I made sense of it by the end.
Right. It seemed like there was some weird like mob boss almost who Lula like contacted and was like, "Hey, I need you to kill Sailor."
Mm-hmm.
And the mob boss sent out weird, I don't know, silver dollars or something like that to
the
signal to the guys that they need to kill Sailor.
In the bathroom where he like takes this phone call and there's like
a half-naked woman.
Yeah, I don't understand. I guess to me it just seems like a lot of weird shit like thrown together. And I don't know, there's like, because there's the references to the Wizard of Oz, and I was trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, how does this relate to the Wizard of Oz? And I never figured out how it relates to the Wizard of Oz other than like saying, hey, look, this is like the Wizard of Oz.
Right. Yeah. To me, it's another Nicolas Cage movie where the director or the producers were trying to do something very abstract that didn't work. So you can see they're trying to like create some abstract plot that's tied together by all these different weird characters that have all
Yeah.
their own unique, I don't know, backstories and things like that.
Yeah.
Especially the assassins, like the weird lady with the limp and the cane and her posse, the two dudes, and then they kill the other assassin. I don't know. It's just a whole garbled mess in my opinion. And then
I
they
would
just throw
agree.
nudity and like flashbacks in there for who knows why.
Yeah, I wish we could have somebody who has like a positive opinion to come in here and explain to me why this is art, but I don't I don't know if I just maybe I just don't get it. But so much of the stuff is like it seems nonsensical. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't seem like it ever connects back.
Yeah.
I,
So essentially, Lula's mom doesn't want Sailor and Lula dating, so she hires people to kill Sailor, and Sailor ends up in a weird make believe town in Texas with Lula.
Big
And
tuna, right?
yeah, Big Tuna. It's a fictional town in Texas. And then they ultimately meet I think the star of the movie, played by Willem Dafoe, Bobby Peru,
Yeah.
who convinces Sailor to rob a bank with him because Bobby Peru tells Sailor that Lula's pregnant. So he freaks out and he's like, I need money. Turns out they rob the bank. He gets arrested. He goes back to jail. And then he gets out of jail 5 years later or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. And then Lula picks him up.
Right. Lula picks him up out of jail again and is all excited. And now she has her son or their son with them. And Sailor's like, never mind, like I don't want to, it's been 5 years, I don't want to come into your life and ruin it essentially.
Mhm.
And then all the random Wizard of Oz stuff hits again, and it turns out that he believes now that it's a good idea to be together. So then he runs and chases her down over top of all the cars. And
Well, right, but and that because that's after he gets surrounded by that group of dudes that like beat him up.
yeah,
Which was that a callback to something that I missed? Because I'm like, what? Who are all these dudes? And then they all just beat him up, and I'm like, what? Why did that
no,
happen?
I don't know. I mean, I think they were all supposed to be gay, and then he uses a slur on them, and then they just like beat him up.
Oh,
Which
huh.
I guess I don't know what the
Why?
reason for that is,
That part was
besides
weird.
to knock him out so that he
Yeah,
dreams of the wizard of
yeah. It's
the witch of the east, I think it is.
right.
Glinda or whatever the good witch's name was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
It comes in
That
the
just
bubble.
felt like shoved in there though.
Yeah.
I
Contrived.
So I guess if I can say anything good about this movie, it's like the little parts in between that I like kind of giggled at, but like the overall connectivity, uh, like Lula has a cousin named they call him Jingle Dale. Like, what else?
Yeah, some crazy UFO guy.
Um, just some of the weird like are they trying to like the sex scene where there's like metal music playing? I, and then they're like vulgar descriptions they go through at the bar. It just feels like they're like pandering to be like, look how weird this is.
Right.
I
It's
mean,
like
it
they
is
just threw a
weird.
bunch of weird stuff together and like, this
Yeah,
is art.
yeah.
This is abstract art because
Um,
we said so.
so like I don't know, I giggled at a couple parts, and then like all the then like the hitman or like the one like makes coyote noises, and then the other one makes like dog noises. I
Yeah, I don't know.
and then they like meet the like lady who like is doing some kind of weird trance thing, but I still don't understand what any of that was.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was supposed to be like some sort of like black magic, because it seemed like they were kind of associated with maybe the Bayou or like, you know, New Orleans or, you know, something like that, like Creole type of
Yeah.
something or other. That's what I kind of got from it. But yeah, it just seemed like they threw a bunch of things that make you uncomfortable.
Okay.
I just felt very uncomfortable for,
Right.
I
Okay.
would
So
say
maybe that was the idea.
95% of the movie for
Yeah.
some reason, even though the two main characters were the least, in my opinion, were the least weird characters.
Mhm.
I mean, they even made Lula's mom a psycho who
Yeah.
painted her face with lipstick. Like, I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
It didn't all make sense. But I did like Bobby Peru. Bobby Peru is cool. Willem Dafoe, he did a good job acting as him.
Yeah, I'd agree. I thought his acting was good.
Besides that weird, like, sexual assault that he did.
Oh yeah.
In the hotel.
You know.
That was weird. But other than that, yeah. Wouldn't watch it again.
No, definitely not. Some interesting things. Multiple times he talks about his jacket and how he says this represents a symbol of my individuality, belief, and personal freedom. He really likes his jacket.
PSA: snakeskin jackets will look good on no one. Don't do it.
Yeah, like when he was fighting that guy in the bar right after he got out of jail, they went to that like rock concert bar, and Lula was like dancing with the other, I don't know, metal guy.
Yeah.
And before he even does anything, he's like, "I'm wearing my snakeskin jacket because it represents my individuality." And you're like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, and then he from there it breaks out into like an Elvis style performance. Yeah. And then did you notice the weird like audience screams that were like the screams from like a giant like stadium inside this small bar? It's like they just took like screams from an audience in a huge auditorium and cut them into this scene inside this like small bar room.
I didn't notice that. I did notice that Nicolas Cage sometimes had like a Elvis like accent. Like it would just randomly pop up and I'm like, okay.
But why?
I don't know, because I guess he was supposed to be like Elvis.
Well, I think that was he was doing that because he was trying to woo or, you know, get in Lula's pants some more, because like there were also a couple times where he was literally singing Elvis songs to her throughout the movie as well.
I mean, that was the big symbolism at the end of the movie. He finally sung what's it called? The Hold Me Tender.
I'm not very good with Elvis songs. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's called Hold Me Tender, which is like his, or sorry, not Hold Me Tender, Love Me Tender, which is like one of his most romantic songs, I guess.
I recognized it sounded like an Elvis song, and I was proud of myself for that. Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like they threw a bunch of random crap at the wall.
Yeah.
And somehow made a movie out of it.
I would agree. You got Jingle Dale. He stays up all night making sandwiches. So he has mental problems, it seems. Like, and it and then like
it did nothing for the story.
I don't. Yeah, it's maybe you're right. Maybe it's just like to be uncomfortable, and that's the whole thing.
That's what I think they were going for, because there was just so many portions, especially in the beginning of the movie, where I just felt so uncomfortable that I didn't even want to keep watching.
Oh, gotcha. I guess the discomfort didn't bother me so much, but
I mean, like when they came across that girl that.
Oh yeah, the car crash
or whatever.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the car crash. There's so many random things you could just not say, and they would have no effect on what the story of the movie is.
There's no context behind them either.
I guess the car crash was supposed to be like a bad omen for them leaving.
Mm-hmm.
But with all the random other stuff that's happening, I feel like you can make the argument for those things.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the weirdest ones for me was when Nicolas Cage was laying on the bed and he had a radio on his feet. and he was like holding a string, like a string was tied around the radio, and he was holding up with his feet in the
Yeah.
hotel room.
Yeah, he's like, by then they'll be driving Buicks to the moon.
And I'm like, what is going on here? Why are you doing this? It doesn't it makes zero sense.
Yeah. The movie's senseless. I think that's the
takeaway.
Kudro, tell us 2 things you liked about the movie.
Two. Okay.
All right,
so
one. Tell us one thing you liked about the movie.
All right, let me think. So number one, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but I felt like Willem Dafoe's, what was his character name?
Bobby Peru.
Bobby Peru. Yeah. I don't know if this was intentional, but when he died, the shotgun and the cop taking his head off, I found that unintentionally hilarious.
Yeah, that was hilarious. And then Nicolas Cage is like, feels bad for him some reason, and you're like, what are you talking about? Dude's a creep.
And let me see here. The final one of the final lines from let me see, what was it when he was running away going back to Lula. I'm sorry I called you guys homosexuals. You taught me a very valuable lesson about life.
Yeah. So weird.
And maybe that's the entire point of this movie. We're trying, it tries to be a drama when really what it is meant to be is a nonsensical comedy.
Okay.
Just to show you all the weird people in the world.
So
maybe
one thing to add here, I see on IMDb. So this was actually based off a novel, Wild at Heart, the story of Sailor and Lula, and then changed into a movie. The screenplay was written by David Lynch, who also directed it.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so it's a book. It's got to be a weird book.
Well, David Lynch is a pretty famous director, though, right?
I think so.
Yes.
But he missed on this one.
Yeah.
But you can't write all winners, so.
All right. Should we rank it?
Yeah, let's rank it.
It's
been so long since I remembered all the other Nicolas Cage movies that are terrible.
Most of them have been terrible.
Besides Raising Arizona. That one was
and even
funny.
That was only, I feel like even that was only average.
All right.
I chuckled a bit.
Wait, well, hold on. What's the B there? What's that?
Raising Arizona.
Raising Arizona.
Raising Arizona.
Yeah, we got Raising Arizona in the B tier. So we got Time to Kill, which we put all the way at the end of the F tier.
I don't remember that one. What was that about?
So I think for me, this movie is, I feel like it's so disconnected and not good as like a story, but it's not as bad as Time to Kill. And I do think like the little moments I could appreciate, like Willem Dafoe's acting, just the weird outlandish shit they say, at least, it's got some originality to it. It's not, it was kind of boring at points too, though. So I'm really between an E and an F. I think if F plus was a score, I would go F plus. But I feel like I gotta go E. I think like this is like the low end of the E tier. Maybe
what's an E right now? What is that movie there?
That's If It Could Happen to You, the movie with the lottery.
No, that one was good.
Oh yeah, Quinn is the only one who gave it a C.
What's my ranking? I didn't think that one was that bad.
I don't remember. Looking back, I don't think it was. I mean, it was better than this. So I don't know if this is high F tier. I think I'll give this an E. I'll give this an E for my personal score.
I think an E for me as well. Below It Can Happen to You. For sure.
I would agree with that. Kudro, what's your score?
Let me see here. I saw a line that described this pretty well. It is melodramatic trash. Despite despite some positives, it's not good. It's an E from me.
It's an E. Okay. Okay. So nobody's dropping it to an F.
It's not as good as the pigeon suit boy.
Birdie. Whoa, I thought Birdie was good. I will defend that one.
So I guess in our overall, then I feel like this is probably sounds like we want this in the E tier.
Yeah.
And should we just put it down here at the end of the E tier?
I think so for now. Yeah.
Okay.
We can fill in the gaps later.
Fill in the gaps later. This is end of the E tier. All right. So that is ranking of Cage, episode 12, Wild at Heart.
Flaming garbage.
Was that a comment from someone?
No, it's my comment.
Oh, that's your comment.